Boxing looks into the implication of this August the 4th Sun City clash of the big hitters, amongst some other interesting tidbits. Let's join our presenters, Bert, Blewett and Deon Roux.
In this edition, we preview the heavyweight fight between Pierre Coetzer and Johnny Plooy, talk to Brian Mitchell, the world junior lightweight champion, about his future in boxing, pose the question, what's age got to do with it, and profile a world-rated national champion who is virtually unknown outside Border and the Eastern Cape. Welcome to the world of boxing, and it's good to be back after my visit to England to find out what makes British boxing tick. But Deon, little seems to have happened while I've been away.
Nee, Bert, jy is doodreg. Met wêreldbeker sokker en tennis op Wimbledon in die kollig is boks gedwing om 'n lae profiel te handhaaf, maar daar's baie interessante dinge wat op ons wag gedurende die volgende maand of so. Ek dink die kersie op die koek moet definitief die swaargewig geveg tussen Pierre Coetzer en Johnny Plooy wees. Dit vind op 4 Augustus by Sun City plaas. Beide Coetzer en Plooy het hulle vorige gevegte juis by Sun City gewen in Junie om te verseker dat hierdie geveg kan plaasvind waaroor daar so lank gepraat is. Die groot vraag by die meeste mense wat die gevegte gesien het is egter, waar is al die krag van hierdie twee boksers se houeë?
Plooy in particular was a keen disappointment, and although he looked to be in reasonably good physical condition after his long layoff, he seemed a bit apprehensive and seldom took a forward step. Time and again he appeared to let Leroy Murphy off the hook, and the American got bolder by the minute.
Murphy verdwaas daar in die hoek. Maar daar die hou van Plooy het nie meer die krag in nie.
Coetzer also failed to finish off Philip Brown after he had the American in desperate trouble in the first 2 rounds. Coetzer's aggressive start was an eye-opener and a pleasant surprise, but it was disturbing to note that it took another 7 rounds before he forced the referee to intervene and stop the fight.
Die krag waarmee die twee manne hulle houe slaan kan 'n deurslaggewende faktor in die geveg wees. En as Plooy die bokser van ouds gaan wees, kan hy dalk net die voordeel hê. Alhoewel Plooy hoofsaaklik 'n bokser is wat konsentreer op teenhoue, het hy teen Mike Weaver bewys dat hy ook houe kan laat ontplof toe hy hom in die tweede geveg by Sun City uitgeslaan het. Dit was een van sy beste oorwinnings.
How much more can Weaver take? We approach halfway in round number 2. Mike Weaver in a lot of trouble. Can he stand up for the rest of the round?
Plooy trying to pick his shots. He doesn't want to go wild. He doesn't want to take the chance of punching himself out, because that's what he did in the first fight in the 3rd round. But meanwhile, Weaver probably is recovering from those punches. Oh, no, he's not. He's not going to get up. He's not going to get up.
He won't get up.
He's out. Coetzer has never been regarded as a particularly hard hitter. The national champion is considered to be more of a boxer than a fighter. And yet, Coetzer has scored his fair share of knockouts, and his 1-round stoppage of Bernard Benton was a beauty.
En ons het ook gehoor dat Johnny Plooy se volgende teenstander ook. En dis 'n baie goeie hou van Benton wat vir Pierre Coetzer op daardie snytref. Weer eens die regter. Jy sien hoe hierdie bonkige Amerikaner gebou is. Dis die ene spiermassa. En 'n pragtige hou van Pierre Coetzer. 'n Pragtige kort linkerhakhou. En Benton gaan nooit daarop staan nie. Hy is plat agteroor gesak. Dit was 'n besondere vinnige hou. En die geveg is in die eerste ronde verby. Pierre Coetzer wat baie
Die manne in die onderskeie hoeke van die twee vegters sal ook 'n groot rol speel. En die raad wat hulle tussen die rondes ontvang, kan dalk net die uitslag bepaal. Ons het aan die vorige Suid-Afrikaanse weltergewig kampioen, Harold Volbrecht, wat deesdae self ook 'n topklas afrigter met 'n hele paar boksers in sy stal is, gevra watter raad hy aan Coetzer en Plooy sou gee as hy in hulle hoeke was.
Well, like we all know that Pierre Coetzer is a very good boxer. You know, he likes to move and throw a jab and a straight right. So what I would advise Johnny to do is, if I was in his corner, you know, throw with left and right hooks. You know, move on the outside. Instead of fighting one line forward and backwards, I'm making him to fight side to side. I need a lot of cross punches and a lot of like bowler punches, you know, because Pierre is a straight up fighter, and I would advise him to throw bowler punches, and you know, like Johnny can bob and weave too, you know, so he can use his bobbing and weaving and come over with a lot of hooks.
Okay, now if you're in the other corner, in Coetzer's corner, how would you advise him to beat Johnny?
Well, and again, like Pierre is a fitness fanatic. He's got the legs to move for 10 rounds. So I'd advise Pierre to use his footwork and his speed to outspeed Johnny. You know, like use his jab and straight rights. And as the fight goes on, Pierre will put a lot of pressure on Johnny. Only thing I don't think Pierre is a very good hooker. You know, left or right hooker. You know, so I would advise him to use a lot of jabs and straight rights.
Something neither Harold Falbrick nor Alan Tawil or Willie Locke can answer with any certainty is what will happen if either Coetzer or Plooy is knocked down. Plooy's track record in this department is not reassuring. When Francisco Damiani knocked Plooy down in the third round of their WBO heavyweight title fight in Sicily, Johnny made absolutely no attempt to get up. Coetzer fared far better in his fight with Benny Coetzer. Not only did Pierre pull himself erect when Coetzer dropped him in the second round, he came back to score a stunning knockout in the third.
Oh, there goes Benny Coetzer down. A left hook did it. Blood pouring from his nose. He looks to be in a lot of trouble.
Pierre Coetzer, there's nothing to him. He just comes right straight forward at you. You don't have to look for him. He's there in front of you all the time. He doesn't duck, he doesn't dive. He just walks in and tries to hit you. So what are we going to do? Stand and look at him? Forget it.
I respect Willie Locke's opinion. He's a very good trainer. I mean, after all, he trained a world champion. But I think they're missing the point. They have forgotten the dynamic punching of Pierre Coetzer. If Coetzer will not only hurt Johnny Plooy, but will knock him out.
Kom ons vergeet vir die oomblik wat hulle mentors sê. Trots en emosies kan net sowel die geveg beslis, omdat daar al so lank vir hierdie geveg gewag word tussen twee gesore opponente. As dit gebeur, sal verdediging van die grootste belang wees. Coetzer se verdediging is nie te swak nie, maar Pierre neig om swaar te kry wanneer hy teen 'n ongemaklike teestander, soos byvoorbeeld Ossie Ocasio, te staan kom. Hy het 2 keer 10 rondes teen hom geboks in vervelige gevegte.
Nadat hy self ook 'n paar goeie houe ontvang het. Nou na die lyf toe Coetzer met die links-regs kombinasie. Definitief die skeieregter.
Plooy's defense has largely been based on offense, and this strategy has served him well in the majority of his fights. Johnny looked particularly good against James Quick Tillis, having survived a few shaky rounds to finish strongly and win on a late stoppage in fine style. But no matter what the pros and cons, a boxer is generally only as good as his last fight. And here, Coetzer has a decided advantage, as most of the experts we spoke to were quick to point out.
Ek dink die eerste paar rondes gaan dit meer van 'n oorlog wees. Ek dink Johnny gaan probeer om Pierre uit te slaan in die eerste paar rondes, want Johnny sal weet hy sal net 'n kans hê in die eerste paar rondes. As die geveg langer as 6 rondes gaan, glo ek Johnny se kanse gaan wees so baie goed wees soos in die eerste paar nie, want volgens my is Pierre 'n baie fikser en 'n baie meer toegewyde bokser as Johnny. So ek glo die geveg, as die geveg voor die 6de ronde eindig, kan Johnny 'n kans om te wen. Maar na 6 rondes glo ek nie Johnny sal vir Pierre kan wen nie. Dan sal Pierre se fiksheid vir Johnny uitoorlê.
Oh well, I think Pierre is gonna win on point.
My personal fancy will be Johnny Plooy. In my eyes, Johnny is a good puncher. He's not such a workhorse as Pierre Coetzer, but I believe that within the first 5 rounds, Johnny Plooy will knock Pierre Coetzer out.
But I think it could end up being a very interesting bout if Johnny Plooy gets down and does some serious gym work. Both fighters are fairly good punchers. I don't think one stands out as an exceptional puncher above the other. But I think Johnny Plooy's key would have to be to go for broke in the first 5 rounds. Use his hand speed and get in there and try and stop Pierre Coetzer in the first 5 rounds. I believe if he goes over 5 rounds, Pierre Coetzer's got a very good chance of pulling the fight off on points, or even maybe a late round stoppage. But if Johnny du Plooy, like I said earlier on, gets in and works hard in the gym for this fight, which he has done in previous fights, he can do well in the fight. It could be an interesting fight. It's definitely not a one-sided fight. It can go either way.
The winner, look, for the winner of this fight, the sky's the limit. It's sort of instant millionaire status. It's really who they fight, and that it wasn't as important to me when I was negotiating as, in fact, for the loser. You know, the winner, I would see him fighting someone like a Pinkland Thomas or, you know, an ex-world champion very quickly, and then going on to fight possibly for the world title. And that's not a dream anymore. That's now actually becoming reality. Pierre Coetzer has just been rated, as of this month, number 8 in the IBF. So he is in the world rankings. If he won, it's not hard to imagine him fighting for a world title within the next 6 months to a year. And the same goes for du Plooy, because if du Plooy beats Coetzer, he would take the ranking and carry on, you know, as a major international heavyweight. For the loser, I guaranteed the loser another fight, because I also believe that people are wrongly saying that the loser of this fight is finished.
Hierdie geveg is 'n baie belangrike geveg vir Johnny. Hy het baie om te bewys vir homself en vir die publiek. En ek voel dat as Johnny werk soos hy nou werk, is dit groot dinge vir hom. Maar hy moet eers by Pierre Coetzer verbykom. Alhoewel Pierre Coetzer, soos almal weet, is fit. Dis die enigste voordeel wat hy teenoor Johnny het. Hy's 'n baie dedicated man. En ek dink dis al voordeel wat eintlik omtrent Johnny het. Want Johnny dink ek boks vinniger. Hy slaan harder. En dit hang net alles van Johnny af. As hy die werk ophou soos hy dit nou doen en hy super fiks, sien ek nie hoe kan hy die wêreldkampioen beklei.
I think it's Johnny du Plooy. Pierre Coetzer is going to win the fight. I like him more than I like Johnny du Plooy, and I think he's got more experience and he's much stronger.
Johnny du Plooy is better, and I think he's skillful.
Pierre Coetzer sal sekerlik wen, dus my gevoel omtrent die saak.
Johnny du Plooy is a skillful fighter, that's why I feel that he'll beat Pierre Coetzer.
As al hierdie menings hier so 'n bietjie deurmekaar gemaak het, is dit miskien goed dat die boksers die laaste sê het.
My kans sover ek weet gaan baie goed wees. Dit gaan 'n baie goeie geveg wees. Ek het baie hard geoefen, ons is nog steeds besig om harder te oefen. En my kans is net so goed as Pierre se kans om te wen.
This is a fight I've been waiting for a very, very long time, and I think most of the South Africans also are waiting for this fight. And I'm training for this fight exactly the way I was training for a world title fight.
Hoe korter die geveg is, hoe beter is dit. Maar as al fiks al 10 rondes.
I'm very confident that I'm going to win this fight. Doesn't matter which way or how I'm going to win it, but I'm going to win this fight. And this is the turning point in my boxing career. And definitely I'm not going to stop fighting after this fight. So from here on the big things will start.
Stamina sal alles reg wees. Ons is voorberei vir hierdie geveg. Dit gaan 'n moeilike geveg wees, maar dit sal 'n baie goeie geveg wees.
In the hot seat is a young man who has virtually rewritten the record books and who probably will, I dare say, rewrite a few more records before he hangs up his glove. Welcome to the world of boxing, Brian.
Thank you.
And talking about records, I'm sure you're aware that there was a man back in the 20s who held the junior lightweight title and defended it 11 times, a man named Todd Morgan. Now, your next defense will be your 11th.
Well, that's the record I'm chasing now, because he's got an all-time record.
Yes.
And once I equal that, then I know I've really achieved a milestone in boxing as far as the junior lightweight division goes.
Now, assuming you tie that record against Joe Gamanche, were you going to try and look to break in it in another fight?
Well, at this stage, I'm not sure. I'm going to take it. I'm at the stage in my boxing career now where I'm taking it one fight at a time. I haven't decided on a month or a date or an amount of fights that I've got left in me. But Joe Gamanche is going to be a good tester for me, how much boxing I've really got left. And I'm going to be in good condition for that fight, and I'll take it one fight at a time from there.
Now, the fight is scheduled for late August or towards the end of August. And you have seen Gamanche because he boxed on the undercard when you fought Irving Mitchell.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't actually seen him in action because I was in the dressing room and he fought just before me. But I know of him. I've met him there. We trained once together at the gym at almost the same time. But everybody else has seen him fight. I'm waiting for the videos to watch him in action. and then I'll work out my fight tactics from there. But I believe he's a great fighter. He's a young guy, he's 23, he's unbeaten in 20 fights or 22 fights, and that's always dangerous to fight an unbeaten guy, because he doesn't know what it's like to lose yet. But I'm going to work hard for the fight, and hopefully my experience is going to carry me through for my 11th title defense.
Well, in fact, he's been quoted as saying that because he's a young man and because he's relatively unknown, you'll probably take him rather lightly. Is there any danger of that happening?
No, definitely not. There's no danger of that. I've fought many guys that were relatively unknown, and even early in my career and as a South African champion, I've never taken a fight lightly, and I definitely don't intend to at this stage of my career. It's a very important fight for me. I'm fighting in front of his home crowd, and I know that he's going to have all the support in the world there, and I've got to be in great condition.
Now, you do have a common opponent, Irving Mitchell. You stopped Mitchell in 7, he stopped him in 4. Does that tell you anything?
Not really, because after I fought Irving Mitchell, he decided to retire. And although I haven't seen the Irving Mitchell-Joey Gamache fight yet, I believe that Irving Mitchell just came back for his last payday. But it does tell me that he can stop a similar opponent to what I stopped. And I found Irving Mitchell quite a tough opponent because he was a southpaw and quite a cagey type of fighter. So I'm expecting a very tough fight from Gamache. But like I said, I'll be in great condition once again, and hopefully my experience is going to be the winner on the evening.
Now, I suppose you are disappointed that the proposed fight with Joey Lopez is not going to take place. Tony Lopez, I should say.
Yes, Tony Lopez is a fight that I've been looking for quite a while. We originally started negotiating with Barry McGuigan. That fell through. Then we were looking at doing a John Molina fight. We were just waiting for him to basically beat Tony Lopez, as most people expected. And then when Tony Lopez won the fight, we jumped up with joy, and we thought, well, this is the fight we've been waiting for. I'm sure Tony Lopez wants the fight as well. We were going to either fight him for the IBF title or unify the two titles, which is what the public want, the world wants. And I was very excited about the fight, especially at this stage of my career. And it doesn't look like the fight's going to happen. Tony Lopez is looking elsewhere.
I believe there's a possibility he might be matched against Jorge Paez. And one of the conditions is that he would fight in Sacramento, which is his hometown. Did it bother you that you might have to fight him in Sacramento?
Well, yes, that was one of the strong points as far as I was concerned in negotiating that fight. Is I said I'm prepared to fight him for any title and anywhere in the world, but not Sacramento. Even close to Sacramento, but not right in Sacramento. I saw what happened there with John Molina, and most people that saw that fight will know. I mean, John Molina is basically an American. He's a Puerto Rican. He trains in America with the Duva camp, which is a very strong camp. And he was thrown with ice and bombarded in the ring. So there was no way me as a South African world champion was going to go and fight in Sacramento. But I felt confident that if the fight had to happen, Tony Lopez was suited for me. I'm a boxer counter-puncher similar to John Molina, and I've got the style to beat him. The only difference between myself and Molina is that Molina fights upright like McDonald and the European fighters, and I slip a lot of punches. So my tactics would have been to make Lopez tired and then get the upper hand.
You mentioned the unification of titles. It bothers a lot of people in boxing that there's a multiplicity of titles and champions. What is your view towards this? What is your attitude?
The IBF, the WBC and the WBA champions, it didn't bother me because I realized that in the olden days there was only one world champion, but there were so few fighters those days. And nowadays there's so many hundreds and thousands of fighters around the world that to give fighters an opportunity to fight a world champion, and with the population we've got in the world today, 3 world champions is not really out of the order. But now that they've started this WBO body, I'm not excited about the WBO at all. I've seen some of their champions in action, and I think they're just making a mockery of world titles by organising a WBO body. Hopefully the WBO won't last that long, and we can get on to 3 good world champions. Because I believe in the junior lightweight division, we're all 3 good world champions, being myself, Azuma Nelson, and Tony Lopez.
Brian, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the very best of luck when you defend your title for the 11th time.
Thanks for inviting me on this interesting show, Bert.
What was billed as the road back turned out to be nothing more demanding than a gentle stroll for former world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson when he knocked out Henry Tillman in just 2 minutes 47 seconds of the first round in Las Vegas.
Die Suid-Afrikaanse boksbeheerraad het die elektroniese eeu betree toe hulle verlede week na hulle nuwe kantore verhuis het. Die kantore is geleë by die Nasrek sentrum wat beter bekend is as die gronde van die Ramse skou. En die jongste elektroniese apparaat is hier tot hulle beskikking, insluitende 'n rekenaar vir die stoor van boksverslae en rekords. Daarnaby is ook 'n klein binnenshuise stadion waar kleiner toernooie met sukses aangebied kan word.
Training hard for title fights in the United States are RBF Intercontinental Cruiserweight Champion Cesar Makatini and South African Light Heavyweight Champion Saki Vaughan. Makatini is scheduled to challenge Jeff Lampton for the RBF Cruiserweight title, and Vaughan will tackle Uriah Grant for the RBF Intercontinental Light Heavyweight title in Virginia, USA on July 28. Good luck, fellas. In fact, promoter Bob Arum already has a selling slogan for the Foreman-Tyson match. Arum wants to call it the Battle of the Ages. After all, this was Foreman's 22nd win of his improbable comeback. And besides, what's age got to do with it?
Dit was 'n legende soos Thomas Hearns wat die stelling gemaak het dat ouderdom net 'n nommer is. Nou dat hy amper 32 is hy egter meer sensitief oor hierdie saak. Nog 'n legendariese kampioen wat hierdie standpunt huldig, is Sugar Ray Leonard, wat 30 geword het in Mei en alreeds weer van 'n hertoetrede tot die kruit praat. Hy wil in September moontlik teen Marvin Hagler, ook een van die wêreld se bokswonders, deur die toue klim.
Whatever happens in the months ahead, George Foreman can seek satisfaction in the knowledge that Jersey Joe Walcott was 37 years old when he won the world heavyweight title in 1952. And that Archie Moore was 50 years old when he fought his last fight in 1963. In Dallas, Texas, former South African junior welterweight champion Nico Caballo took another step towards a WBO World Welterweight title fight with Manning Dalloway when he stopped Robin Blake in 7 rounds. Fought in sweltering heat, Caballo showed his class by pacing himself beautifully and turning on the pressure when it counted most.
Tijdens diezelfde Dallas toernooi het die Suid-Afrikaanse junior liggewigkampioen Dingang Tubela kwalijk gesweet voordat hy Pasquale Arando in die 5de ronde geklop het. Arando het goed begin, maar algaande swakker geword nadat hy ook 'n sny aan die linkeroog in die 3de ronde opgedoen het. Hy het nie uit sy hoek gekom vir die 5de ronde se aanvang nie. Dit was Tubela se 22ste oorwinning sonder 'n verloorsing. In Atlantic City het ondersteuners nie veel meer as $1 miljoen oefening gesien toe die swaargewig hoop Evander Holyfield Seamus McDonough in die 4de ronde uitgeslaan het tydens 'n toernooi in die konvensiestadsaal. McDonough het reeds in die 1ste ronde op die kruitvloer beland na 'n Holyfield sarsie. In die 3de ronde was daar 'n bietjie opflikkering van sy kant af, maar net om tydens die 4de ronde met 'n geweldige linkerhakhou van Holyfield uitgeslaan te word.
In Seoul, Korea, WBC junior bantamweight champion Sun Kil Moon retained his title when former champion Gilberto Rahman was forced to retire in his corner at the end of the 8th round. Only in the 2nd round did the little Mexican master show anything like the boxing brilliance which brought him 2 world titles and the reputation as one of the world's best boxers. Moon's next title defense will be against Nana Yor Kanado. Jackie Gungdaluza is a world-rated national champion, but few fight fans outside border in the Eastern Cape are aware of his potential. And that's likely because the South African featherweight champion has never boxed outside the Cape. A colourful character who wears dreadlocks and is a staunch Rastafarian, Jackie's interest outside of boxing is restricted to soccer. A vegetarian by nature, the little featherweight is a health nut, and it pays off when he enters the ring.
Gungdaluza het vroeg vir homself naam gemaak toe hy die Britse bokser Gary Maxwell in Maart 1989 in die 9de ronde in Oos-London geklop het. Gesoute beoordelaars het saamgestem dat dit 'n indrukwekkende vertoning was. Later het hy TV-kykers vergas met 'n swaar verdiende oorwinning oor November in Shigella, toe sy Suid-Afrikaanse titel op die spel was. Dit was 'n taai stryd en mag dalk nog as een van die gevegte van die jaar genomineer word. Albei boksers is in een stadium platgeslaan en daar was min tussen hulle te kies toe die laaste klok gelui het.
Gungdaluza's last fight against Timbili Lubisi was little more than a workout for the champion. And yet, it was less than a year earlier that Lubisi took Gungdaluza to a 10-round decision. This time, Gungdaluza ended the fight in the first round with pinpoint punching. No wonder Gungdaluza has been penciled in as a potential world challenger and as a man to be watched in the months ahead.
Lubisi looks hurt.
Daar is die einde van die geveg. Ja, hy kan nie voortgaan nie. Die skeieregter beëindig die geveg. Nou is die skare in die kruit. Hulle is hier oor ons almal.
I think what has brought Jackie away is dedication, discipline and hard work. Jackie is fortunate because to try and stay him to the world title, I've linked up with somebody who I think is a very good guy. He's dedicated to boxing. He's not just in the game just to make money. Mike Segal. And I think he's got the eye for the talent in the Eastern Cape. And I think in our deliberations with him, I pointed this thing out. I said to him, if Jackie is going to be a world champion, but he's got to take the Eastern Cape boxing with him. There's no point in us getting there and leaving the other talented guys behind. So the way we're going to do it is, Jackie is not going to be just a boy for the club and all sort of thing. He's going to go there with talented boys like Nmedi Lesiko, Toto Makoroto, and the other boys in the Eastern Cape. Every time he goes out there, if he's fighting in Johannesburg, he's got to go with the guys from the Eastern Cape and go then so that he can get the necessary exposure. So that he can be able to get sponsors coming over here, big time promoters coming over here to exploit the talent, which I think we have in the Eastern Cape.
Well, since I was a young boy, I just watched Gosana Mpaji. Then I became excited about boxing, and I started to go in my nearest gym. While I still young. Then I grew up. Then I turned professional in 1986. The boxer I admire is Welcome Mita, and overseas is Sugar Ray Leonard.
Well, Deon, we had a good response to our invitation to viewers that they write and tell us what they think of our program. And please keep the letters coming. So here's the address once again. World of Boxing, P.O. Box 8323, Henopsmeer, code 0046.
Net weer die adres, World of Boxing, posbus 8323, Henopsmeer 0046. En ja, ons wil graag van u hoor. U kan gerus skryf met nuus of wenke en ons sê totsiens tot en met die volgende program.
See you at the fights.